Hi everybody, I'm Maria, your favorite YouTube English teacher from C2 English School. Can you spot the mistakes in my story?
You can do it.
Yesterday I went to a very enormous park. It was in the center of a totally big city called New York. It was very freezing, so I didn't stay for long. I visited a cafe for an extremely huge hot chocolate. Did you find the mistakes? If you did, well done. If you didn't, stay with me. This video is about gradable and non-gradable adjectives and their modifiers. Understanding these will help you sound more like a native speaker and improve your vocabulary a lot. We'll come back to my story at the end of the video when you will be able to see what the mistakes were. Adjectives are words that describe nouns. For example, a hot plate, an intelligent student, an expensive car. But sometimes it's not enough to use the adjective alone. Sometimes you might want to use a modifier to make your adjective a little bit stronger. For example, while shopping, you might see a watch and say, that's an expensive watch. Or you could say, oh, that's a bit expensive. You might say that's a very expensive watch, or even more, an extremely expensive watch. Another example is a smart student. A smart student could become a very smart student, or, especially if he subscribed to the channel and liked the video, he could become an extremely smart student.
You are so smart.
But how can the student be even smarter? Well, he could become a brilliant student. But can we modify brilliant? Well, no, not really. This is because smart is a gradable adjective and brilliant is a non-gradable adjective. Gradable adjectives can be measured, like tall, a bit tall, very tall, extremely tall. Non-gradable adjectives can't be measured, like enormous. We can't say a bit enormous. We can only emphasize it by saying totally enormous or absolutely enormous. Let's see if you can guess the non-gradable adjective.
I challenge you!
Big, huge, or enormous. Good. Fantastic. Angry. Furious. Bad. Terrible. Cold. Freezing. Difficult. Impossible. Frightening. Terrifying. Attractive. Gorgeous. Funny. Hilarious. Hot. Boiling or roasting. Interesting. Fascinating. Old. Ancient. Small. Tiny. Tasty. Delicious. Tired. Exhausted. Pretty. Gorgeous.
Well done. Well done.
Sometimes instead of saying gradable and non-gradable adjectives, they're often called normal and extreme adjectives. Extreme adjectives are also often called absolute adjectives just because they can't be modified. Whatever you call them, these are the modifiers that you can use with either type. So for gradable adjectives, we can use modifiers to modify the strength of the adjective, like slightly, a bit, fairly and quite, very and really, and extremely or incredibly. For non-gradable adjectives, you can use really, absolutely, totally, and completely, as well as utterly, exceptionally, and quite. Did anybody notice really? If you did, well done. Really can be used with both gradable and non-gradable adjectives, and the same applies to quite. As for the rest, no mixing. You can't say absolutely big and you can't say very enormous. Do you remember my little story from the start of the video? Let's have a look at that now and see if you can spot the mistakes. Yesterday, I went to a very enormous park. You know that very and enormous don't go together. So what can we say instead? Yesterday, I went to an absolutely enormous park. Yes, these go together because absolutely is a modifier for extreme adjectives and enormous is an extreme adjective. It was in the center of a totally big city called New York. Again, totally and big, they don't go together. What can we do? Change these two words. So we change those for very and big. It was in the center of a very big city called New York. It was very freezing, so I didn't stay for long. Very and freezing. No, we can say it was totally freezing. I visited a cafe for an extremely huge hot chocolate. Extremely huge. No. I visited a cafe for an extremely large hot chocolate. Yes. And that's it, guys. It's not so complicated, but it is very useful to help you sound and write like a native speaker. I hope you found the video useful. Please tell me what you think in the comment section below. I would love to hear from you with any questions you might have and also suggestions for future videos. I recommend that you watch this video to continue improving your English. Why? It's very good and I made it.